Here's the motherfucking APA battle.
My name is GeneralTarheel. Welcome back to APA Season 5 Week 10 battle versus Coach Owen and the Seattle Sandstorms. Yes, that was a beautiful intro and I could hardly keep it together. That was the third take because I kept cracking up because that meme is so stupid. But I had my drink and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. So, not sponsored by Bojangles though. But they should reach out to me, just saying. So coming into week 10, we are sitting at 5-4, which is a pretty decent record, but here we are trying to win over the rest to secure a spot in playoffs, of course. And coming into this week, we were supposed to face Leader Geo and his San Francisco Giants, but unfortunately Geo had to drop just to being busy. Excuse me. We kept trying to plan around it and stuff, but it seemed like his job just became too much for him, and he really just couldn't commit the rest of the few weeks to the APA. So we opted to drop out just to make sure every coach still had what they needed. So Owen took over. Owen is a player from APA Showdown. He's been a supporter of my channel for a while, as well as just a friend from Showdown, so I appreciate him taking over the team and taking the time to battle me 1,000,000%. Make sure to check him out if you haven't. I'm going to plug him, of course, already here and at the end of the video and everything, so make sure you do it because I'll be reminding you either way. But when this team was drafted that we're facing, Geo decided to do a base 100 speed or higher draft. I'm pretty sure everything's just above 100. Which is a little bit scary, but at the same time, he doesn't have a lot of bulk. His bulkiest thing is Latias, so getting into that wasn't a little bit too difficult. Charizard really has a good time versus stuff with minimum bulk, so going into this, I was not too sketched out about it. I kind of knew what I wanted to do and everything. So quickly to go over the team, once again, quickly. Mega Charizard X, we got Roku, Flare Blitz, Dragon Claw, Roost, and Tailwind, with an Adamant nature, just about max speed, just shy of max speed. This Charizard set had Tailwind instead of Dragon Dance purely because since it was a Geo team, it had Ditto on it, and my team really didn't want to deal with a +1 or +2 Mega Charizard X. So knowing that, Ditto cannot copy Tailwind speed boost, and since I don't really need attack boost as long as I weaken the team a little bit, Mega Charizard X can still blow the team back. Like, really, Latias is, like, forced to run a Bond Berry versus me, I'm pretty sure. That was a voice crack. But, other than that, Charizard just kind of does a lot of damage. I could have opted Earthquake over Roost to make sure I get, like, a KO versus Lycanroc, but Lycanroc was probably going to have, like, a Life Orb or Cell Rock, and I don't really want to stand versus that anyways, because that's going to be doing, like, around 75% to Mega Charizard X, and I don't really want to take that. But Charizard's a really good cleanup sweeper, just a really good wall breaker in general, because he really doesn't have switch-ins to it. But since everything is going to outspeed Mega Charizard X, it's going to be able to get off a lot of necessary damage. Now I do have the max speed, not max speed, 244 investment, so just about max speed. But the 151 total speed at +2 allows me to make sure I can outspeed a Scarf Jolteon, because based off of my Jolteon speed investment, if you were to bring Ditto and a Scarf and copies Jolteon, Mega Charizard X will still be able to outspeed after the Tailwind, so that's the reasoning behind that. And then Adamant just allows me to get off the most damage, and pretty straightforward from there. Next up, we have Swampert. Swampert is a pretty important Pokemon here. We have Earthquake, Ice Punch, Stealth Rock, and Roar. Once again, fairly similar actually to the set we brought last week. Just opting Ice Punch over Ice Beam, and we do have the leftovers, and we have the Damp ability once again because we don't need Torrent because we're not running a water type move. We have max HP investment, and then we have 36 in attack, 180 defense with a Impish nature, and then we have 36 def, and then there's 4 speed. The reason behind these EVs is that with this HP and defense, I am able to, what was it necessarily here to take care of? I'm trying to remember this. It allows me to eat hits from Hawlucha as well as Beedrill, and it allows me to eat a 2+2 Stone Edges from Lycanroc. I believe the main reason was. Also lets me eat a +2 Life Orb Close Combat from Gabalion, or just a non-boosting in general. And then the Spadef investment that I have allows it to take a Grass Knot pretty well from Tapu Koko at the very least. Also allows me to actually potentially live a Giga Drain from Sceptile, depending on what investment it has. If it's no special attack investment, there is a chance I live. Any special attack investment, though, I'll probably not live. The 36 investment in physical attack is purely for Ice Punch, just in case Latias for some reason was to be an Electric Seed. Calm Mind set to where it gets the defensive boost, and then a Calm Minds and just try to win versus me. Ice Punch does have a for sure chance of knocking it out even after the +1 defense. And I'd be saying, why would you have to try to make sure you can break a sub? I believe it's not knock it out, but it automatically breaks sub after +1 defense. Why would you want to break sub when you have Roar? The reason behind that is because if Latios is the last Pokemon, which is very scary versus my team, if Latios is the last Pokemon, I wouldn't be able to roar it out. It would just freely set up in front of my face, and I want at the very least make sure it can't just do whatever to me. Even though if it is that +1 defense and then just Roost Calm on it and all that, I don't think I can beat it. I really didn't feel like bringing a Lone Persian this week, even though it would have helped me like if it was Mono Psychic, just like the Crest last week. Really didn't feel like it was that important, to be completely honest. All the other Pokemon seemed pretty important for the team. Next up we have Dugtrio, which I think had the best matchup when I first looked at the team. We're basically just attack with max speed, Choice Scarf, Arena Trap, of course, Earthquake, Sucker Punch, Memento, and Stone Edge. Reasoning behind this set is basically I just trap anything. Not many things on his team are going to want to run Scarf. I can trap everything except Latios. I'm pretty positive. And then it's just so helpful because I really get rid of whatever I want. The only thing I'm not KOing that you see on the screen, of course, is either Latios, which I wouldn't really be trying to trap anyway since I can't because it's levitating, or Sceptile. Sceptile I wouldn't be able to KO. But the reason I opted Stone Edge over like Shadow Claw, which I was kind of looking at, which helped me to hit Latios, and Hawlucha still Stone Edge helps me break Substitute versus Hawlucha if he did opt to bring Hawlucha with Coco. And I also brought Memento strictly for that Hawlucha or Latios, anything of the sort, just so I can be able to stop their potential setup, because with this type of team that he has with the fully invested speed, he's really focused on momentum and just trying to get his Pokemon set up and try to win from there, get off a little bit of chip and stuff like that, but with like U-turn, Volt Switch with those potential he has on his team. But really he's just trying to set up on something freely and then win. He doesn't have bulk switch-ins, it's not a balanced draft, it's basically hyper offense. So as long as I can like match the offense and not allow any free setup, then I'm sitting in a very solid position. That's why a lot of these Pokemon have ways of getting rid of potential setup or having coverage for Pokemon that could potentially he think he can set up versus me on. Next up is Jolteon. Max speed to like try and speed tie with Tapu Koko if he opts to go max speed. I have Ghost GMZ with Volt Switch, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, and Protect. Reasoning behind this is Jolteon just does so much damage versus his team. Also, if he gives me Electric Terrain, then it does even more damage. If he wants to bring Lightning Rod to Sceptile, that's perfectly fine. I can bomb that with Shadow Z. If he wants to bring a Calm Mind, Tapu Koko, that's a little bit more of a problem, but then Dougie just comes in and traps it, and Dougie kills it. So that's totally fine with me. But apart from that, I am bringing Volt Absorb, even though Ditto can be annoying if he opts to just switch in that every time. But if he wants to do that, then I can freely just go into Dugtrio. And even though, yes, Glick's Shadow Ball and he won't be locked in, Dugtrio of course lives any Shadow Ball hit, and I'm able to get off an Earthquake and kill the thing. So that's very important there. Protect is strictly because if Hawlucha opts to run High Jump Kick versus my team, it would have to click that versus Jolteon, as well as it just helps me scout what the Ditto wants to lock itself into if he opts to make that switch into Jolteon. So, seemed like a pretty good fourth move overall. Ghost GMZ is strictly for Latios because if he brings a like a speedy Latios with the necessary enough speed to outspeed like Mega Charizard X, and then have special attack investment and the remainder in HP, Shadow Ball plus Ghost GMZ will knock out Latios. So if I Shadow Ball, he goes +1, Ghost GMZ will still knock him out afterwards. That was the plan. And then next up, Skarmory. Wasn't really sure if Skarmory was the best bring, but I felt like I needed to bring it purely because Mega Beedrill was a problem for this team if I opted not to, because I didn't want to put too much pressure on Swampert. It also really helps me versus Sceptile, which I noticed was a big threat versus my team actually, because of Unburden SD setup. So noting this, I brought Sceptile. This is mixed defense, special defense. I have leftovers Defog, Brave Bird, Roost, and Whirlwind. Once again, very basic set. Once again, very needed. So, of course, with the sturdy ability to help me versus a potential +2 Thunder Punch and Electric Terrain from Sceptile, which is pretty scary, but at the same time, Skarmory is just helpful versus the team, even if it does have Coco. Because Jolteon, Dugtrio, and Swampert, all three of those are immunes to Coco, so I'm not really that worried. And lastly, we have Little Mesprit with the Papa Berry. I have Psychic, Shadow Ball, Calm Mind, Healing Wish with a somewhat defensive set, and then the rest in 132 special attack with a modest nature. Basically, this allows me to get off a little bit of potential chip versus a team, because Psychic Spam is pretty helpful versus him, as well as getting up a Calm Mind can really help out the team if I'm able to take out Pokemon such as Lycanroc, and of course Mega Beedrill. Because apart from that, he really struggles to break a defensive Mesprit, and then getting this Bidef boost helps versus the Pokemon such as Tapu Koko and Latias. Excuse me. With the defensive estimate I have in 252 HP and 124 defense, that allows Mesprit to eat a +2 acrobatics from Hawlucha, as well as a +2 throw chop if he opts to go that route. +2 acrobatics after losing his item is still the more damaging move, but throw chop I still like would still be a possibility if he just wants to try and look for the super effective coverage, so I kept that in mind. But since it does less damage, it wasn't that big of a deal. Psychic 1,000,000% knocks out Hawlucha if it tries to set up in front of the face. As long as I don't give it a sub, I'm looking pretty fine. Shadow Ball allows me, of course, to hit the Latias, like I mentioned. Calm Mind's always helpful in the Healing Wishes, mainly in case I need to get Dougie back at full health to ensure I can trap something and kill it. Whether that's getting Swampert back at full health because it is a necessary wall of this match, or if I'm getting Charizard back to full health to make it kind of, get off the tailwind and, do as much damage as possible. That's what I'm trying to get at. So knowing this and looking at the 60 Prod, Mega Beedrill, Sceptile, Tapu Koko, Latias, Lycanroc Dusk, and Cobalion, the only thing I was surprised at was Mega B, because Karmary is an amazing wall, Swampert's pretty good too. All of that was a little bit surprised. But still, since he brought it, I have the proper checks to it, and it's totally fine by me. When I was looking at the team, I was like, okay, I just leave Mega Charizard X, I Mega Evolve, and I'm basically able to get off a free hit. If he opts not to hit me, good. If not, then that's whatever. But I knew I kind of want a Charizard for sweeping still, but if I really wanted to, I could keep Mesprit in the back and just get off a Healing Wish. So Charizard could go back to full. So starting off this battle, like I mentioned, I'm just going to lead Mega Charizard X, and as you saw on the opening screen, he opted to lead with Mega Beedrill. This is totally fine by me, because I live any hit against this Mega Beedrill. Because of adaptability, Poison Jab's doing just as much as Drill Run if he wants to opt for either. If he's Jolly Set, the max I believe he does is 76, and then if he's Adamant, the max he does is around 83, I believe. So we're both going to Mega Evolve here. I was really confused at first when the battle started. I was like, why am I Mega Evolving first? But it's just because Charizard pre-Mega naturally has a better base speed compared to Mega Beedrill. So I was like, why is this beat so slow? But luckily we're fine. I also made the play of just clicking Dragon Claw. There's no way he goes into Tapu Koko here. There's no way he goes into Cobalion. If anything, he'd make the switch into Latias, or maybe Lycanroc. But basically, I was just expecting him to sag Beedrill since he sees I have Skarmory in the back. But unfortunately, he does get Poison Jab, and he does get the poison. Doesn't really matter too much, because I was still in a low enough range to where anything can come in and knock me out. Because the bad thing about his speed is that Charizard's not able to get a Roost off versus anything at this point, because anything's going to be able to just click a move and kill it. Now, I do know that I had the Healing Wish in the back for Mesprit, but when I was looking at it, I'm like, I don't really know if I'm going to be able to. I really don't want to risk this Latias just going for a Calm Mind in front of my face either, because then I really struggle to deal with it. Because even if I go in and Healing Wish Charizard, if he gets a +1 and goes for Dragon Pulse or Draco Meteor, Charizard's dead. And even then, there's a good chance he has the Habon Berry in the back. So I'm like, I have to click in and click Dragon Claw. It's like my only play. So then I'm allowed to get in Jolteon for free. He recovered in case I just opted to click my Z move right there, because going hard Jolteon versus this thing made it pretty obvious what I wanted to do, but I felt like it was my only play. Looking at the damage that Shadow Ball did here, he does have that amount of HP investment that I predicted. So this GoC should 1,000,000% knock out. If he had a little bit more, it could have definitely been a roll, but I made it toward the minimum amount for GoC to knock out the set I was predicting it would make sure to knock out. So luckily, when we go for Never Ending Nightmare here, we are just barely knocking out this Latias while getting the thumbnail material, so that is very important. So knocking out Latias is easily the biggest threat that he had on his team. Like, that was the #1 thing I was worried about. But #2 is Sceptile, and I still need to be aware of that, because that is very scary. Right here he goes into Cobalion, and I'm like, looking at the calcs, I'm like, I 2-hit KO this thing with Thunderbolt. There is no reason for me to switch here and give this thing just free setup. Because if he goes for an SD here, then he's screwed. If he goes for the Rock Polish, then I just switch into Mesprit. It's absolutely fine. because Mesprit is the key switch here. Not only because if it does take a lot of damage, I can just Healing Wish into something else if I really wanted to. Even though nothing's weak at this point, Charizard was the only thing weak. And also he doesn't have Hawlucha, so... Excuse me. So Mesprit's not as big as a Pokemon at this point, right? Also, Psychic will be able to knock out the Scobalion right after, because we were able to get off that damage with Thunderbolt. And luckily he does opt to go for his all-out pummeling right here. So it's a good thing we didn't go into Skarmory or anything. Or Swampert. And we just opted to go into the Mesprit. Doing a lot more damage than I expected still. I was trying to calculate and figure out if it was close combat, and still didn't make sense to me. He might have been adamant. I really doubt it though. That didn't make sense to me. Because he really did need to be Jolly. But either way, we're able to click Psychic and we knock it out. Mesprit's still at a very good health percentage right here, as he opts to go into Tapu Koko, and I'm looking at Calcs. I'm like, if he's not an offensive mix and he's just, you know, like hasty or something like that, U-turn will not knock me out, Volt Switch will not knock me out. And I get my Papa Berry and I'm back at full, and something takes a Psychic and has to take another Psychic. So I 2-hit KO anything right here. Anything. Luckily, we do live. He was not attack investment for the U-turn, or nor a boosting item such as Life Orb. So we're able just to get our right Papa Berry back up, click Psychic, and this could do so much damage to this Lycanroc. That's doing around 65% of that Lycanroc, which is crazy. If you wanted to click an attacking move here, I wasn't entirely scared of it, but there was no reason for me to stay in and like take a Stone Edge. Because Mesprit, I can keep healthy, take a hit from Tapu Koko, and get off a Psychic, or I'd take a hit from Tapu Koko and get in a Healing Wish, and get something else like my Swampert back in for full health, since I am opting to swap it into the Lycanroc. But right here, he did miss the Stone Edge, did not matter at all. I'm telling you straight up, did not matter. It would have done very pitiful damage. But he does get up to Stealth Rocks, which is important because this hinders my Skarmory's Sturdy, as well as he might be thinking I could still be / Dougie. And right here, we see the Sceptile is unburdened with the Electric Seed, and this is what I was scared of. If he clicks SD, I need to click Roar 1,000,000%, because if he doesn't click, because even if he opted to click Leaf Blade and just knock out my Swampert, I just go into Sceptile after, and I just Whirlwind it out. 1,000,000% I lose nothing whatsoever, because if he would just go for a Thunder Punch neutral, it would not kill Skarmory. So I was not worried at all. So luckily I clicked Roar, and this is so much easier to deal with this Sceptile at this point. So much easier. Right here I'm just gonna opt to click Earthquake. I could have clicked Ice Punch, but if he had the Grass Knot, I lived it. So that's why I opted to go for Earthquake, and I just try to kill Koko. And then on I can just spam moves at Sceptile, because it's not gonna have the defensive boost anymore or the speed boost and Unburden. So between Jolteon, Dugtrio, Skarmory, and Swampert, I absolutely win this game if Koko goes down. Koko I'm still not very afraid of, nonetheless, because of Jolteon and Mesprit in the pack. So right here, he probably feels forced to attack me, knowing he can just get roared out. I'm going into Skarmory 1,000,000%, because especially since Electric Terrain was going away, that Thunder Punch is not going to be doing barely anything to me at this point anymore. So knowing this, when he goes into Tapu Koko right here, Skarmory just lived anything. That's just all I knew. So it was totally fine. So I'm just getting off the defog. So just in case this Sceptile is able to get +2 once again, I'm going to hope my Skarmory can at least get as close as they need to full and not take the necessary Stealth Rock damage to ensure I can potentially live the hit. So right here, I'm just going to swap out the Skarmory and I'm going to go right into my Jolteon. There's, once again, no reason for me not to. Dazzling Gleam is the most he can do, and yes, that can potentially 2-hit KO me, but if he wants to do that, and he does KO me, then I freely go into Dugtrio after. And then I just Memento on the Sceptile, and then I just, deal with it with Mesprit and Skarm. So right here, you click Thunderbolt. Doesn't unfortunately get a crit out on the Koko. Doesn't matter at all. When you see the last few turns settle out, it still would have brought him to around 50% or so, probably doing around 45. And of course, he's going to go into Sceptile after he Volt Switches out, and knowing that he had the Electric Seed, there is no way in hell he has Lightning Rod, so I'm clicking Thunderbolt here because it does the most damage, and even if it was, I'd still be able to work around it perfectly fine. And Leaf Blade is going to do just enough to knock out Jolteon. I did the calc, and if he was max attack, which I'm assuming, Jolteon was just in that range, so it was kind of unfortunate. But I look at the calcs, and since I got off that Thunderbolt damage. Doug Trio has everything in Earthquake range now, and I'm able just to click Earthquake and pick up these remaining kills, giving me the 4-0 win versus Owen in the Seattle Sandstorms, which is so good, because even if this Coco coming in is Choice Scarf, which we know it is, and this Jolteon was able to get off the Thunderbolt before he turned. So I knew 1,000,000% I killed it, because no way Shucka's leaving either. So that's how I knew I had the for sure win right there, as Dougie clicks Earthquake one more time. So getting this 4-0 win versus Owen, very big. As long as we get this win versus like either Miticus or Leo in the last 2 weeks, I am confirmed in the playoffs. I really don't see me like not making playoffs when looking at the standings right now. So I'm sitting in a good spot as long as I get one more dub. These two back-to-back 4-0 wins were extremely helpful, and great game to my boy Owen. He brought the necessary Sceptile set that I was afraid of, the proper Latios set, and he just did the best he could with the team. It's really weird if you're used to some bulky Pokemon, having a balanced team, or even then like a more fatter team. It's really difficult to pick up a team just as this. He didn't know the concept that Geo had. Geo might have been more comfortable with a hyper offensive team. Owen had to pick it up and face me in like a day or two. I believe it was like 2 days. So once again, thanks to Owen being able to schedule so quickly with that and getting this battle underway. And that's gonna be it for me this week, guys. Make sure to check out everyone else this week. Once again, check out Owen's channel. I believe he'll be uploading this. He probably should be. And check out everyone else's battle. Look forward to the last 2 weeks of the coming APA regular season before we hopefully prepare for playoffs. Stick with me. We still have to fight for it. I'm not saying it's 100% yet. Game's not over till the fat lady sings. Always preach by that. Never say GG before the game's over. But that'll be it for me this week, guys. So make sure to look for all the other stuff, and sub, like, share, deuces.